It's Southside News Today. I'm Chuck Vipperman. It's Wednesday, February 24th. Southside News Today is brought to you by Shanks Associates and by Dry Fork Fruit Distillery. Governor Ralph Northam is loosening some of the public restrictions he put in late last year to deal with the second wave of COVID-19. Governor in Richmond today said those restrictions have helped to bring the caseload down, and more Virginians these days are getting vaccinated.
Since that launched, almost 500,000 Virginians have pre-registered. This is great news. The system is working, and it is meeting a much-needed effort.
Now, these moves will allow alcohol sales up to midnight instead of 10 p.m. It also lifts the stay-at-home curfew, and it expands some previous limits on attendance.
We're able to ease restrictions on outdoor gatherings. Outdoor social gatherings can have up to 25 people, up from the current 10. At outdoor entertainment and public amusement venues, the limit will move from 250 people to 30%, with a cap of 1,000 people.
The new regs go into effect next Monday, March 1st, and will remain in place for at least a month. Local emergency service agencies are just now catching their breath after a week that included a major ice storm and two smaller ones. Pennsylvania County Emergency Services Director Chris Schlemp tells the county's Fire and Rescue Commission that the big storm on 13th was a doozy.
We saw a 625% increase in 911 calls on that Saturday versus the Saturday prior to that, which would have been your typical Saturday, normal Saturday. But our 911 center started out with only 3 people that morning. Those ladies had their hands full.
Nearly half the county was without power at one point, to say nothing of the numerous trees that fell.
Our call volume on that Saturday was actually higher than it was on the day that Tropical Storm Michael hit us. I didn't think that would be possible.
But Slim says it also showed just how crucial local volunteer fire headquarters have become to county residents.
We had a huge chunk of the county that went days without power. And, I know talking with the guys at Gretna, they actually had people come and just get water because they didn't have wells that were working. I know Cowlins had several people come out there and warm up and recharge cell phones. Talking to Laurel Grove, had people actually come down and do their laundry and take showers there. So just some examples of what goes on you may not know about, and I think you need to realize that.
Practically everyone in Pennsylvania County now has their power restored. Well, after months of disagreement, state Republicans' governing body has agreed on a way to nominate statewide candidates for the November election. And it'll be a sense of deja vu for Republicans here in the 5th District. They're going to hold a drive-up convention May 8th on the campus of Liberty University to pick their nominees for governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. A convention now would be illegal under Virginia's COVID restrictions. Plan is to use ranked choice voting so delegates would fill out one ballot and list their choices. Now, this is going to be similar to the drive-through convention Republicans held last summer when they nominated Bob Good over incumbent Denver Riggleman. In a tweet this morning, he said ideologues cannot win primaries, so they go with closed conventions and, quote, bizarre drive-through idiocy. Democrats will nominate their candidate in a primary on June 8th. 2 more deaths in the Danville, Pennsylvania County area are the latest in the COVID report. The other numbers, though, are falling. 1 death each in the city and county boosts the local death toll to 160. The Danville victim was the city's 100th. Now, in the daily report, Danville had only 6 new cases, the average weekly case load down to 15. In Pennsylvania County, 12 new cases brings the 7-day average down to 13. The House of Representatives will vote this week on the Equality Act, a bill that would ban discrimination against people based on sexual orientation and gender identity. It would also expand the areas where those protections apply. There is local opposition to the measure. 5th District Congressman Bob Good took the floor this afternoon. He says the bill would put civil rights laws at odds with longstanding religious beliefs.
The result would be that faith-based nonprofits, such as a Christian shelter for women or an adoption agency or other religiously affiliated providers of social services, could not minister in good conscience without suffering consequences under federal law.
Good says the measure weaponizes civil rights law against Americans. A judge today approved Chapter 11 bankruptcy plans for North Carolina-based Belk. This gives them the financial breathing room they'll need to try to recover from the pandemic. Belk furloughed workers last March as the pandemic began and cut senior staff pay by 50%. Many stores temporarily closed. They filed for bankruptcy earlier this month. Leaders from Pittsylvania and Franklin counties still talking about the future of the Cool Branch Volunteer Fire Department and their rescue squad. Even though it's in Pittsylvania County and largely funded by Pittsylvania County, most of the calls they run are in Franklin County in the Pinhook region. They've been talking nearly a year about a more equitable funding plan. Boards of supervisors in both areas will vote on a proposal very soon. A bill that would shift local elections from May to November passed both chambers of the Virginia General Assembly. It will go into effect in 2022. Locally, it would impact Danville City Council and school board elections, moving them from May to November. City officials asked the legislature to not make the change. Governor Ralph Northam expected to sign the measure. Several other large cities like Norfolk and Virginia Beach would also have to make the change. Let's take a look now on the positive side of life with today's Live Positive moment. Here's Dr. Joey Fawcett.
I'm Dr. Joey Fawcett, coaching you to live positive today. So my wife was shopping with our then teenage daughters. This has been a few years back. But anyway, it was a rather uneventful trip until they were at the cash register. My wife gave the cashier some cash, and the cashier gave my wife her change. And when my wife counted the change, she noticed that the cashier had given her one nickel too much. Here, my wife said, you gave me a nickel too much. Oh, you could have kept it, the cashier said. Yes, I could have, my wife said, but somebody is always watching. Yeah, somebody always has their eyes on you, right? If it's not your children, it's the person behind you in the checkout line, or the person driving in the lane next to you that you're tempted to cut off in traffic, or the person listening to your conversation in the elevator, or the person in the cubicle next to you at work. Well, since you're being watched, show others how to live positive and make a life worth living today, okay? Coaching you to live positive today, I'm Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Thanks, Dr. Joe. Your forecast calling for a few more clouds tonight and much warmer overnight. Lows down to 43. Tomorrow, still mostly sunny, not quite as warm, but very nice. Highs up to 59. And that's a look at Southside News today. It's been brought to you by Dry Fork Fruit Distillery and by Shanks Associates. I'm Chuck Vipperman. Have a great evening.